The Bible it has this sort of tremendous power to it, partly because of how it's written. It has that sort of strong, confident, semi-poetic approach to the stories that it tells. Its language is formal. It's repetitive, like a poem or a song. It repeats phrases. It fragments sentences. Begins a lot of stuff with "and," and stuff. And so it has a rhythm, a musical rhythm to it. And that's just in the writing of it. And then it has, of course, its tremendous history of what it has meant to people and what it still does mean to people, and the wars that it has, not caused, but people have fought in its name. And so when you read it, you do get that feeling, both just from the words itself, but also from what you know about it, of power, of sort of strength. And that's not always easy to live up to find the right tone as a reader, as a narrator. But I enjoy that challenge, and I find it tremendously fun to do.
Reading the Bible is a challenge because it's not in plain English. It is archaic English. It contains words that may have been in use once, no longer are, and yet you have to read them as they were on the page, and make the audience believe that what they are hearing is a modern word. So often do I hear someone read something or say something that I know they didn't understand, and therefore it's impossible to make an audience crawl into the skin of the tale.
Reading the Bible rather than just novels or fiction is different because it's my spiritual path. So it obviously has more natural feeling for me to be reading, even though it's the Old Testament. Every time the word God or the Lord is mentioned, it's part of my belief system and my soul. So it resonates in a completely different way, and is very fulfilling, actually.
When you're preparing for a project, for an audiobook project, whether it's the Bible or a thriller or a mystery, there's really just a few basic things. You have to kind of embrace the genre. There's a lot of similarities with all of those genres. I mean, there's all sorts of conflict and suspense and mystery in the Bible. Jesus overturning the sellers in the temple. But you really have to come to terms with the heightened language. In a mystery, you have to know that, okay, there's going to be a red herring. You have to know there's going to be, the whodunit aspect of it. In a thriller, you have to heighten the suspense. In the Bible, you really just have to come to terms with the fact that you're going to be speaking these lines in a way that they just aren't spoken anymore. I mean, it's very Shakespearean. It's like getting to read Shakespeare 8 hours a day. It's language we don't use much anymore, but I love it, so I embrace it. I realize I get to go in and deal with all the same elements, the conflict, the suspense, but I get to do it larger.
Reading for you the Judges, which I found amazingly complicated, but I think it's just because it's the Judges and it's the law, etc. And it seemed very chopped and very difficult, and of course the mass of names to pronounce. But reading Deuteronomy, there was this magnificent flow, which of course is the history of the King James Bible, is its beauty and eloquence of the language. So it depends who you read, which prophet you read, which writer you read. I think an ease comes, and and we're going to do Song of Songs, and that, which is actually a poem, but it's not written in a poetry form. that also flows in this just magnificent way. And you couldn't write that in modern language. It has to be the King James Bible.
Getting to do specifically the Gospel of Matthew was really a treat, because of the four Gospels, every time there's the story of with Jesus walking on the water, the Gospels get different details differently. There's just a little bit of change from gospel to gospel, but it's Matthew's account of it that I love, because people forget. They always remember that Jesus walked on water, but people forget that Peter did too. And to me, that's the most fascinating part, is that Jesus comes walking to them on the water, performing this extraordinary miracle. They see it. They're scared to death. And yet Peter says, if my Lord can do it, I can do it. I'm talking about his mental process, of course. He says, Lord, if it is you, call to me, and I will come. Jesus says, come. And Peter does. That's the part that gets forgotten so much. Jesus walked on the water, yes, but Peter walked toward him. He was walking on the surface of the water. But the wording of it that I always try to remember in my daily life is, it said that he saw the wind and was afraid.
To do the King James Version of the Bible, both from the New and the Old Testament, is challenging to me as an actor. To do the Luke is challenging to me as a Jew, but then I like challenges. I revel in them.